So this is an interesting bout right here, man. Andrea Lee slated up against Maycee Barber, and a lot of people can be a little disappointed in Andrea Lee given her last outing against Viviane Araujo. But then again, if you're a Viviane Araujo, man, she's an athlete, throws bombs, has fantastic takedowns and all that. And I just thought stylistically it was a little bit of a mismatch, man. So it happens, right? But at the end of the day, I don't want to be this guy, AJ. I don't want to be this guy. But Maycee Barber has all of the makings to me of a little bit of an inflated record to a degree because her wins aren't super pretty. They're not super convincing, right? For an example, the win against Jessica Eye, did she win? Yeah, she won the fight. Getting pushed up against the cage for 95% of the fight, right? If you look at the controversial fight against Miranda Maverick, who everybody thought that Miranda Maverick won the fight, but on paper, Maycee Barber, she's on a nice little run right now. 3 wins in a row, and she's on track to be that person that she advertised herself as the future, right? But I want to kind of take this into consideration. I know Cynthia Calvillo, strawweight, moved up to flyweight, a little bit of a mismatch right there, but Andrea Lee picked her to pieces. And if there's one thing that I've been probably the least impressed about Maycee Barber, even though she's a phenomenal fighter, it's her striking. So, if Andrea Lee can manage to not get taken down and ragdolled by Maycee Barber, I think this is a very interesting fight. But it all hinges on not letting Maycee Barber do her Maycee Barber approach. So what do you think, man? You think Maycee Barber is going to be jabbing air all day like she has been doing in the last couple of fights? Or do you think she just imposes her will and just smashes Andrea Lee? What do you think?
I think it's going to be a little bit of the latter, but I definitely think the jab in the air and the interesting strikes are going to be there. But I mean, a Maycee Barber who has been training a Team Alpha Male still, if she is there, if not, man, I hope she is because they're going to be sharpening her up either way. But you're right, Derek. The striking of KGB Lee will be put on display right here because there's some holes that we've seen Maycee Barber have. Now, I think this for me is a fight of two fighters who have kind of let both their fan bases down as of late anyway. I was a big Andrea Lee fan as she was, or at least at the start of this show, man, and that kind of or those couple of years where KGB Lee was doing good, man. She was on a run. And then she starts dropping the ball. Same thing. Maycee Barber comes into the game hot and then starts dropping the ball, dropping the ones she should. I was after the knee injury, so it's not entirely her thing. But I do think if there's momentum on somebody's side right here, it's Maycee Barber's, man. She's kind of growing into herself, going to be training with other people, getting other looks, seeing other things going on, and maybe she's gotten that striking a little bit under control. Now, that being said, it's hard to not do those instinctual things like jab the air whenever you're nervous and you're not wanting somebody to come in and hit you with a 3-piece. So I do think it's going to be there, but I think the grappling and the pressure that we're going to see from Maycee Barber, the fence control, the head pressure, everything that is going to be a kind of a fundamental staple of the Team Alpha Male approach. I think Maycee Barber is the perfect fighter for exactly that.
Okay. And I agree with you, man. Literally, like when I was lining out my original picks, I was like, yeah, Maycee Barber should probably get this. But it was one of those where I'm like, it's like you pick Maycee Barber, but do you feel good about it? Do you feel completely locked in like, oh, this is a lock? I don't feel that way. And I think it's honestly because Andrea Lee has a couple intangibles, man. 4-inch reach advantage is something you got to take into consideration, man. She could hit her from places where Maycee Barber can't hit her back. Big cage, big arena. That's the other thing you got to take into consideration. It's going to be favoring the person who's got a little bit more mobility, the person who's willing to move around a little bit more. Andrea Lee has a knack for catching her opponents, man. She can drop your mouthpiece out of your mouth, catch you with a 3-piece, move in, move out, right? And Maycee Barber, if she gets you on the ground in that ground and pound old school Maycee Barber style, yeah, we got issues. Because Andrea Lee, bro, one thing is she has been getting manhandled a little bit recently. But she's also had a big break off, man. Her last fight was like 9 months ago. You know what I mean? So it's been a minute. If you look at the Jessica Eye fight for Maycee Barber, 7 months. So it's not too crazy on either end, man. But this is a big opportunity for both fighters. If Andrea Lee wins this fight, I do have a feeling she cracks back into the top 10. But if Maycee Barber wins this fight, bro, you know all steam is rolling ahead. The train has left the station. Maycee Barber is right back where she needs to be. Four wins in a row, man. You're talking. So I think this is going to be proving grounds right here. Now, you tell me, minus 130 decision prop for Maycee Barber. Do you see value in that?
Ooh, I don't know, Derek. I don't know because the longer this fight goes, the more tired you get, the more chances you have to be exposed on the feet. I mean, unless it's just Maycee Barber is all go, foot on the gas pedal the entire time with an endless gas tank, which is a possibility. We don't know. We'll
Mhm.
see. That's a hard one for me, man. I think the striking of Andrea Lee is going to be pretty nice right here, man. And I'm excited to see this fight too because you're right, Eric. I'm not 100% sold. I don't think this is a lock. I mean, as far as the minus 130 decision, I said it before in the show. I guess I'm gonna have to go with it again, man. I'm gonna have to stick to my guns, man. It proved me wrong. That's why you look at the odds before the show, people. But man, I don't know,
Mhm.
Derek. What do you think? That the one that interests me the most right there is that plus 1200 submission from Maycee Barber. I mean, they think she's gonna be taking her down, but is it just ground and pound only, or are we gonna see a club and sub here?
Well, Andrea Lee, if I'm correct, in the UFC, she's never been finished in the UFC. So I don't. I mean, I find that a little hard to believe, right? Submission or knockout. I don't believe she's ever been finished. And I look at the opposition level of an Andrea Lee. Look at the big win she has, man. Remember Veronica Hardy? Remember Veronica Macedo, right? That got the big win, right? She got a win over her. Ashley Evans Smith, Montana De La Rosa, Antonina Shevchenko, and Cynthia Calvillo. Man, like that's a good hit list right there. Losses: Roxanne Modafferi, Lauren Murphy, Joanne Wood, Viviana Araujo. If you look at just strength of schedule, man, she's fought some really, really good people. You look at Maycee Barber, on the other hand, biggest win to date is, I would argue, Jillian Robertson. That's a good win. That's a really good win. Losses: Alexa Grasso, champ, that aged very well. Roxanne Modafferi, and that was the knee, so it's hard to really blame her. But her second biggest win has to be what? Montana De La Rosa, maybe? Jessica Eye?
Guy,
Hannah
yeah.
Cyphers? I mean, when you compare skill levels,
Miranda
just be
Maverick, Derek. Miranda Maverick. It's on the paper. It counts.
all right, all right, all right. We'll count it. We'll count it. Yeah, in my heart of heart, I do not count that as a victory, but we'll give it to her. Either way, man. Compelling matchup, interesting matchup. I think that Andrea Lee, because she's been out of the light, she's not a big talker, and she's had a little poor performance in the last outing, is getting discounted, but I'm taking a flyer. So give me Andrea Lee. Give me a decision victory. I think she outstrikes her to a victory, a little more damage. I think Maycee Barber might have more control time, might have more takedowns or whatever the case may be. I just think that damage, if that's supreme, if that's what reigns supreme, I think Andrea Lee will be able to inflict a little more damage. So yeah, give me a decision. How you see it?
Decision, yeah, man. You're not seeing any value in that plus 1400 TKO. That's kind of a stretch too from the odds makers, man. I see it. The odds are all over the place on this one, man, and I have to go with that decision as well. I'm going Maycee Barber. I'm going decision. I think she's going to hold her up against the cage, not allow that space to happen, be the bully in there like she likes to be. Maybe get a ground, get her to the ground, but I think it's going to be very a lot closer of a fight than people are thinking.
Yeah, and it's not that I don't see value in the plus 1400 TKO. It's just the only person she's TKO'd is Cynthia Calvillo. So I don't really want to. And it wasn't a real TKO. It was a corner stoppage. So I don't want to play that one. But either way, this is a compelling matchup right here.